What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Buzz. Sean Strickland has seemingly revealed his next UFC opponent, and fans are buzzing. With his suspension nearing its end, the UFC appears to already be lining up Strickland's return to the octagon. Recently, Israel Adesanya has been calling for a rematch, hoping to avenge his previous loss to Strickland. However, the former middleweight champion hasn't shown much interest in facing Adesanya again. Instead, Strickland might have accidentally leaked his next fight through an Instagram exchange. When a fan commented, "MVP next," Strickland replied, "Going to be fluffy." That one comment set the MMA world on fire, as it strongly suggests that his next opponent could be Anthony "Fluffy" Hernandez. If true, this matchup would be an exciting addition to the middleweight division. Hernandez has been on a strong run, pushing for a top contender spot and even eyeing a future title shot. A victory over a former champion like Strickland could catapult him into immediate title contention, possibly against the likes of Khamzat Chimaev or other top-tier contenders. For Strickland, this fight would serve as a crucial test after his break, and a chance to remind the division why he's one of the most dangerous and unpredictable fighters in the UFC. Both men are known for their relentless pace, pressure fighting, and cardio, making this potential showdown a stylistic war that fans would love to see. As of now, nothing is officially confirmed by the UFC, but Strickland's cryptic message has certainly added fuel to the speculation. Whether this was a genuine leak or just Strickland stirring the pot remains to be seen. One thing is for sure, a fight between Sean Strickland and Anthony "Fluffy" Hernandez would bring fireworks to the middleweight division. Would you want to see this matchup? Drop your thoughts in the comments and stay tuned for more official UFC updates. Please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for latest MMA updates. We truly value your support and need your help to grow. Move on to another news. The UFC's financial performance took a slight dip in Q3 as its parent company TKO Group Holdings released its latest earnings report, revealing an 8% decline in revenue compared to the previous year. According to the financial statement, the UFC generated approximately $29.70 million less than last year during the same period. On paper, that might look concerning, but there's important context behind the numbers. The decline in revenue wasn't due to a drop in popularity or ticket sales, but rather because the UFC held one fewer pay-per-view event in Q3 compared to the previous year. When adjusted for that missing event, the organization was actually on pace to surpass its expected earnings. In other words, the numbers don't necessarily signal financial trouble. In an official statement, TKO clarified the reasons behind the decline. They noted that the decrease in media rights, production, and content revenue was primarily due to hosting one less numbered UFC event compared to the prior year. Additionally, live event and hospitality revenue fell slightly because of lower ticket sales, again tied to having fewer events. Another factor mentioned was the comparison to UFC 306, which took place at the Sphere in Las Vegas, one of the most spectacular and highest-grossing UFC events in history. The prior year's record-breaking show naturally inflated that period's earnings, making this year's Q3 results appear weaker in contrast. TKO also addressed changes in marketing and partnership revenue. While the company secured several new sponsorship deals and saw an increase in renewal fees, these gains were offset by the absence of the massive title sponsorship revenue that came from UFC 306's landmark partnership deal last year. Despite the temporary dip, industry analysts note that the UFC remains one of TKO's strongest assets, continuing to generate consistent pay-per-view buys, global fan engagement, and strong live attendance figures. With multiple blockbuster fights scheduled for the next quarter, experts believe the company's revenue will likely rebound quickly. In short, the UFC's Q3 revenue decline isn't a sign of long-term trouble. It's simply the result of one fewer major event on the calendar. Move on to another news. Jon Jones has finally broken his silence on the Tom Aspinall vs. Cyril Gane fight, offering his first detailed reaction since UFC 321. For weeks, Jones has been trolling Aspinall over the controversial eye poke incident that ended the fight. From changing his social media profile picture to one featuring an eye patch, to even showing up at a promotional event with a horse wearing an eye patch, Jones has kept the jokes coming, but until now, he hadn't spoken publicly about the matchup. That changed when the YEI No Scripts podcast released a teaser clip featuring Jones sharing his thoughts on the fight. While he gave Aspinall a brief nod for his athleticism, Jones didn't hold back on his criticism. "Tom's a great athlete, but I do feel like he's a one-trick pony," Jones said. "His wrestling and jiu-jitsu are incredibly overrated. He's got a beautiful one too, and I learned a lot about his patterns from his last fight, but that's really about it." Jones went on to analyze the matchup, suggesting that Cyril Gane was actually in control before the controversial ending. "He couldn't touch Gane at all," Jones continued. "I felt like Gane was just getting warmed up. His hands were down, he was loose, shaking his shoulders, bouncing around. He was touching Aspinall with that jab, busted him open, and looked completely comfortable in there. Jones even suggested that Aspinall might have mentally checked out as the fight turned against him. "I think Tom was looking for a way out, and he took it," Jones said. "He needs to make some serious changes if he wants to compete at the top." These comments mark the first time the heavyweight champion has directly addressed the fight in detail, and they've already stirred massive reactions online. Fans are divided. Some believe Jones is mind-gaming his potential future opponent, while others think he's underestimating Aspinall's skill set. Whether it's genuine analysis or another round of psychological warfare, Jon Jones has once again dominated the headlines. His comments reignite speculation about a potential Jones versus Aspinall showdown, a matchup that could define the next era of the heavyweight division. Move on to another news. Reinier de Ridder has shared concerning news about his health following his recent loss to Brendan Allen, leaving fans deeply worried about his condition. On October 18th, the MMA world was stunned when de Ridder suffered a major upset defeat. By the end of the fourth round, he could barely make it back to his stool, forcing his corner to throw in the towel and stop the fight. Now, in a recent interview with SEA Submission Radio, the former champion opened up about what he's been dealing with since that night, and it doesn't sound good. De Ridder revealed that even weeks after the bout, he still struggles to breathe properly. "When I walk up the stairs, I'm out of breath," he said, admitting that his recovery has been far slower than expected. When asked if doctors had identified what was wrong, de Ridder said it's not a virus and hinted that there's more to the story. "There's a lot of information coming back from the blood work and everything," he explained. "I don't want to be too specific because then I'll never get a rematch. But yeah, there's some physical stuff that's wrong, and I'm going to see if I can fix all this before I come back." He went on to mention that this isn't the first time he's dealt with similar issues, referencing his second fight against Anatoly Malakhin. "I thought I fixed it, but apparently I didn't," he said, suggesting that this may be a recurring physical problem rather than a one-time incident. Since the interview, fans have been speculating about what could be behind his condition. Some believe de Ridder may be dealing with a serious illness or possibly a collapsed lung, while others think his cardio simply failed him during the intense grappling exchanges with Allen. Whatever the case, it's clear that de Ridder is focused on recovery and determined to return stronger than ever. The former two-division champion remains one of the most talented fighters in the sport, and his fans are hoping this setback won't keep him sidelined for long. Whether his struggles stem from an underlying health issue or the demands of a grueling fight camp, de Ridder's resilience and transparency have earned him even more respect. He's now working to fix the issue and make a comeback, but for now, the MMA world waits and hopes for good news regarding his health. Move on to another news. Jon Jones has shared his thoughts on a potential super fight with Alex Pereira, and he believes it could be the perfect main event for the rumored UFC White House card. Speaking on the Scripsy podcast, Jones expressed genuine respect for Pereira and said a matchup between the two champions would be nothing short of a global spectacle. "I'd like to fight Alex Pereira at the White House," Jones said confidently. "I feel like he's incredibly respectful, and he's become a household name in MMA. Everyone knows who he is. He's a champion, and he's already in the conversation as one of the greatest fighters of all time. That fight would be a blockbuster. I think the whole world would come out to watch it." Jones went on to explain that a fight between him and Pereira would not only draw massive attention, but also bring tremendous respect to the sport. "I've beaten many Brazilians over the course of my career," he continued, "but either way that fight goes, nobody loses. It would generate millions for the sport, and when two high-level athletes like us compete, especially with mutual respect, everyone wins." Jones also addressed the symbolism of potentially fighting at such a historic location. "When you talk about hosting a UFC event at the White House, how could you do that without the greatest American fighter of all time?" he said with a smile. "It just makes sense. If there's ever a card worthy of that stage, it's one with me and Pereira headlining." Alex Pereira, the current light heavyweight champion, has rapidly risen to superstardom in the UFC, earning a reputation for his devastating power and calm demeanor. A fight between him and Jones, widely regarded as the greatest mixed martial artist of all time, would be one of the biggest events in combat sports history. While the UFC has yet to confirm any details about the rumored White House card, Jones' comments have already fueled excitement and speculation among fans. A potential Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira showdown would not only bring together two elite champions, but could also become one of the most iconic moments in UFC history. Would you want to see Jon Bones Jones take on Alex Potan Pereira on such a historic stage? The world of MMA is watching closely. Move on to another news. Leon Edwards has laid out a clear and confident plan to reclaim his welterweight title as he prepares to face Carlos Prates on the main card of UFC 3 2020. After months away from competition, Edwards says the time off has helped him refocus, rebuild, and return to peak peak form. Now, he's ready to make a statement and begin his journey back to the championship. "I've fought all the wrestlers in the division," Edwards said in a recent interview. "It's finally time to face a striker again. I can be more free-flowing, more creative, and really show my skills. I'm excited to go out there and test myself against someone like Carlos." The former champion explained that the welterweight division feels wide open right now, and timing could work perfectly in his favor. "We've got cards back-to-back. My fight, then Belal Muhammad versus Ian Gary the following week," he said. "Whoever performs the best between those fights will likely get the next title shot. I truly feel the best I've ever felt in my life. I've had time to reset, refocus, and I'm ready to put on the performance of my career." Fighting at Madison Square Garden is another major motivation for Edwards. "MSG is special," he added. "It's one of those arenas you dream about. When you're old and retired, you want to look back and say, I fought at Madison Square Garden. I'm taking this opportunity with both hands. I'm excited, focused, and ready." Edwards acknowledged Prate's momentum, but made it clear that he plans to end it quickly. "He's the new kid on the block, coming off a solid finish, but me going out there and taking him out will remind everyone that I'm the best in the world," he said. As for what's next, Edwards already has a roadmap. "After MSG, I want one more fight in early March or April, ideally against Ian Gary if he beats Belal Muhammad, and then I want to fight for the world title in the summer. That's my vision." If things play out the way Edwards predicts, a dominant win at UFC 322, followed by a matchup with Gary, could set up the perfect path back to gold. With his focus restored and his confidence sky high, Leon Edwards is on a mission to reclaim his spot as the king of the welterweight division. Move on to another news. During a recent episode of the NLK Boys podcast, Eric Trump, son of former U.S. President Donald Trump, shared his excitement about the upcoming idea of a potential White House card. While discussing the topic, Eric revealed that he would love to see two of the biggest stars in mixed martial arts, Jon Jones and Conor McGregor, headline the event. Eric explained that Jon Jones still seems to have one major fight left in his legendary career. "It's funny," he said. Jon posted a tweet a while ago showing his wall full of championship belts, with one empty spot left. It looked like he was saving that space for one final title, and if there's ever a fight worthy of that moment, it has to be at the White House. He continued by expressing admiration for Conor McGregor, calling him one of the most charismatic and talented fighters in the UFC. "I've gotten to know McGregor pretty well," Eric said. "He's an incredible person and a true entertainer. There's so much raw talent and personality in him. If the White House card actually happens, I think you're going to see McGregor there too." Eric emphasized that the idea of a UFC event connected to the White House would be symbolic, a massive cultural moment where sports, entertainment, and politics collide. He noted that both Jon Jones and Conor McGregor represent the peak of the fighting world, and having them fight under such a historic banner would be unforgettable. When asked who else he'd want to see on the card, Eric laughed and said, "Honestly, there's so much talent right now, it's hard to pick, but Jon Jones has to fight. I really think he'll be on it. And McGregor, he's the kind of guy who makes any card 10 times bigger." Eric's comments quickly drew attention across social media, sparking conversations among fans about what a AJG UFC White House card might look like and whether such a spectacle could ever actually take place. For Eric Trump, though, one thing seems certain. If the event happens, it deserves nothing less than Jon Jones and Conor McGregor stepping into the spotlight once more. Move on to another news. Israel Adesanya and Jack Della Maddalena recently sat down to analyze Islam Makhachev's grappling skill gene in a new video posted on Adesanya's YouTube channel. The discussion offered valuable insight into how both fighters view Islam's dominant wrestling game and what it might take to neutralize it in the octagon. JDM had previously stated that he believes Islam may underestimate his grappling ability. According to him, Makhachev might assume he can simply take Jack down and control him on the mat. But Della Maddalena insists that Islam will be in for a surprise, suggesting that his movement and defensive transitions will prevent Islam from settling into his usual top control. Adesanya agreed with JDM's assessment, noting that many of Islam's opponents make the mistake of freezing once he secures a dominant position. When Islam gets on top, Adesanya explained, a lot of guys just stop moving. They take a second to breathe, and by that time, he's already 2 steps ahead, adjusting, pushing them down, and tightening his control. You can give him that window. You have to stay urgent and never stop moving. You have to stay urgent and never stop moving. Izzy emphasized that constant motion is key to surviving Makhachev's pressure. Even if you have to give up your back to roll into a scramble, you've got to keep moving, he said, referencing how Alexander Volkanovski and Jarman Sarukian successfully used butterfly hooks to escape and defend takedowns. Volk was always a few moves ahead, Adesanya continued. He used that butterfly hook perfectly to create space and kick Islam off balance. That kind of urgency makes all the difference. Della Maddalena agreed, saying that using butterfly guards and hip escapes effectively requires timing and precision, especially for fighters with longer legs. It's about constant adjustment, he noted. I don't think Islam will be able to keep me down for long. Both fighters discussed how Garmin Sarukian's fight with Makhachev demonstrated that high-level grapplers can make Islam work harder than usual. Adesanya predicted that during the upcoming bout, there will come a moment, perhaps after the third or fourth takedown attempt, when Islam realizes that JDM isn't staying down. That's when things get interesting, Izzy said. When he sees that Jack's not breaking, that's when the fight changes. You'll smell blood in the water.